Hi everyone. So I hope you all are doing great. Welcome to the session. Today we have study jam session 2. So uh, today we are going to cover something more about agentic AI, something more about how we should develop the code or some related to that. Before that, I would like to tell you who have joined for the first time. What is AI Community Lucknow? AI Community Lucknow is a group or community that supports the students, professionals, AI enthusiasts जिनको AI के साथ कुछ ना कुछ डेवलप करना है. They want to do something bigger, but they want to start from somewhere. So AI Community Lucknow started a series AI Study Jam. In this series, we are going to cover multiple topics, not just limited to Gen AI, including deep learning fundamentals and ML fundamentals. So इन सभी टॉपिक्स के साथ हम लर्न करेंगे उनके फंडामेंटल्स को, साथ ही साथ कैसे डेवलप करना है और कैसे डेवलपर्स को बिल्ड करना है, ये सारी चीज़ें सेशन इस पूरी सीरीज के अंदर हम कवर करेंगे. आज के सेशन जो है ये कैसे एक एआई और एजेंट्स और एआई आपको डेवलपमेंट में हेल्प कर सकती है. इस सेशन में आप एंड तक रहने पर हैंड्स ऑन लर्निंग और साथ ही साथ काइंड एआई टूल्स का नॉलेज भी गेन करेंगे. ठीक है, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट. आज के सेशन में हमारे साथ हैं ज्योति जी, जो इस सेशन को कंडक्ट करेंगी. एंड वेलकम ज्योति ऑन द स्टेज.
I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing extremely well. Thank you so much actually joining the session on weekend. So it's always good that some of the people are willing to learn even on the weekends and they find out time for joining such sessions. And uh, we need to actually learn very actively because the pace at which AI is developing right now, and every week, every day, there is something new coming. So we should be updated if we plan to get a job, or even if we want to survive in this industry with our current job aspects. So I think English both is comfortable for everyone. Tripti has raised hands. Tripti, you want to speak something, or like uh, we'll have a question answer at the end. Let me get started.
ज्योति जी, इस पूरे सेशन को हम इंग्लिश में कवर करेंगे. एंड तृप्ति
ठीक
प्लीज यू कैन आस्क एनी क्वेश्चन दैट यू हैव इन माइंड इन
है.
मैसेज बॉक्स और Q&A box. So
Hmm.
we will address all the questions and this end of the session. Until then, let's start the session and go through what we have today.
Okay. So just I'll be sharing my screen. Just let me know if my screen is visible. Just a second. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, you are visible. Your screen is also visible.
Okay. Thank you. So the agenda of the today's session is to introduce you all to Gemini CLI. So before that, do you guys know what is this Gemini CLI? किसी ने इसके बारे में पहले से सुना हुआ है या फिर you have used it? Maybe you can consider answering in chat. So it's a two-way session, and I get to know about you as well. Has anyone ever used or even heard of Gemini CLI? Yes, please consider responding. Okay. So Gemini CLI, basically, we all hear about agents nowadays. So agent क्या है? Just like we have friends in our life, agent is a non-stop 24 into 7 working person that we can have, and we can get our tasks done. What sort of task and everything, I'll just cover in a while. So now we have agents, and when I talk about Gemini CLI, it is basically an agent within your command line. So agents are very powerful, but what if we could have these agents within our command line interface, मतलब हमारे local system में, and then हम उसको natural language में instructions दे सकते हैं, and then it can actually do tasks for us. So that is what Gemini CLI is. It is basically an open source agent that allows you to code and create within your local interface. So it is very powerful. Before I even move further, let me give an introduction about myself. So, my name is Jyoti Nigam, and I'm currently working as a data scientist at Upgrad School of Technology, which is a venture of Upgrad. I'm also co-founder of a community for cybersecurity and artificial intelligence research, which is called as C2AI in short. I've worked on multiple AI-driven software solutions. I've delivered freelancing softwares as well as uh, worked with the companies in the past in the similar roles like data science and data engineering. I am also a technical writer. You would find my blogs on popular websites like Geeks for Geeks, Code Chef, etc. And I'm also a member of Google AI Developers Group. So I actually attend their sessions every month, and I actively participate in their activities. So now I'll introduce you all to Gemini CLI. So as I said, it's an agent within your command line. So it's an agent within your terminal. जो terminal आप use करते हो, let's say if you are using VS Code. So VS Code में to run a file, you use that terminal, right? To give the command. So now you can also run agents within that terminal, and it's a conversational agents. By conversational agent I mean कि आप उससे बात कर सकते हो in your in English. You just give instructions in natural language. Let's say that I want to build a website, or let's say you already have an existing project, you already have a website, but मान लो आपको उसके पेज में कुछ modification करना है, and you just tell it that find this folder, find this file, and then do these modifications, it will be able to do it. Why it is so popular? Because it is open source. Open source, by open source I mean like you have the access to the complete source code of this entire Gemini CLI interface. So it is very popular, very it has a very big community, and there are a lot of active developments going on, and being open source makes it very powerful. And of course, it is powered by Gemini, and we all know that Gemini as an LLM is leading the industry. Now, how this works under the hood. So let's say that you're working on some certain project. Now, what you'll do is probably you'll have a prompt. Let's say you have a prompt that you want to get some dashboard created. आपके पास कुछ files and you want to do some data analysis, and then you probably have some files. Let's say you are working on a data cleaning project, या फिर you're working on some ML based project, and आपके पास बहुत सारे CSV files हैं. You want to perform data cleaning and you want to create a dashboard out of all those files. So all those files are in your local system. You use this Gemini CLI and you prompt LLM that kindly clean the files and then help me create this dashboard out of it so that I can maybe take some business decisions. Then what will happen is this Gemini CLI will give do a call to your LLM, let's say Gemini 3 or Gemini 2.5 Pro or Gemini Flash, any model in this case, and then it will select relevant tools. So let's say अगर मुझे data को clean करना है, maybe I need to write a Python script for it. I need to use Python for it. If I want to create a dashboard application sort of, maybe I need to create a front end application. So it will select relevant tools. If I want to do some get some stats from the industry, maybe मुझे Google search करना पड़ेगा. So this LLM makes creates a plan. It actually does tool calls. It executes the commands locally, like let's say creating a, or let's say modifying your file, or let's say creating a new file. So it will do all these local executions, and you need to give permission for everything. And then once this is done, this continues in loop. As long as your query isn't resolved, this keeps on happening again and again within in a loop. And once it has completed the task that you've given, it gives it the Gemini CLI, it actually terminates and you get back the response. So all your tasks are done, and you just gave a simple English language prompt, and then everything got done on its own. How it used to happen earlier, everything was done manually by a human. Now the effort is minimized. You have tools like these that you can just talk in English language and it will do tasks on your behalf, and you are able to get back the responses. Now, why we are talking about terminal? Terminal से होता क्या है that terminal is something that is within your local within your computer system. You have a lot of files within your uh, computer or laptop. And if I install this tool, you will have direct file access. Secondly, since you are having all the files, let's say coding files or document files or audio files, everything in your local, we need to give some context to the LLM so that it is able to actually give us accurate responses और वो information fake नहीं करता है. And since it has access to all these file systems, it has access to tools, so it's like a Swiss army knife for you that can do all tasks all in one. It can perform a lot of tasks together. We'll see what all applications do we have. So it also allow it, given that we are using terminal, it can create scripts, bash scripts for you, it can create automation scripts for you. Gemini CLI also has got some extensions that I'll tell you in a while, and you can do a lot of customizations also. As I told you, it's an open source, it's a very big community out there who is working on this. So they've given a lot of customizations. I'll introduce you to some tools, some built-in tools that this interface offers. So there are file system tools that allow you to actually list what all folders are present within your file system. So list directory, for example, it can read files, it can modify files within your system, it can search the content from the files, it can replace files. It has web tools as well. So using web tools, it can do web search. So it can perform Google search. It has got shell tools. So shell tools से क्या होता है? It can run commands. It can probably kill a process or maybe invoke a process or execute a shell script. And then it also has something called as MCP. I'm not sure how many of you would have heard of MCP. Can we run a quick poll? I just want to know how many of you know about MCP? या फिर you know what MCP is, you've heard about it, you've built some tools implementing MCP protocol. And then it has also got memory as a tool. So there's an explicit memory. So it can remember what all information you give. So these are some very powerful built-in tools that are present. I'll move forward. So now, given that I've told you about Gemini CLI, how do we install it? So again, like this process of installation is time consuming. I already have it installed in my system. And in fact, at the end of the session, I'll be sharing the entire repo that I've created so that you can replicate what all we have learned in this session. It has got step-by-step instructions as well for you to follow. It has got notes. It has got all these relevant files that I'll be using to give you the demo, and I'll be sharing the slides as well if you guys need that. So to install Gemini CLI, there is a prerequisite that you should have Node within your system. So just check that you have Node installed in your system. Once you have Node, there is this simple single line command that is npm install and flag -g for global, and then you just give in Google Gemini CLI. You run this and then it gets installed in your system. It's that simple. So it will probably take some 2 to 3 minutes for it to run, do the complete installation. Just prerequisite for you to install this application is you should have Node already installed in your system. So once you have got Node installed, you run this npm install command, and you have the Google Gemini CLI running in your system. How do you start it actually? So in order to start it, you just need to run Gemini. And in fact, I'll show you, let me cover some commands and then I'll show you the demo of how do we do it locally. Or just a second, let me actually share my VS Code screen so we see the live demo. Just let me know, is my screen visible to everyone? The VS Code screen? Can I get a confirmation, please? And is the font size fine for everyone?
Yeah, it's visible
Okay.
and
So
outlook.
once I've done the installation, I can just type in Gemini. Once I type in Gemini, you will see that it starts this Gemini CLI tool. So this is how it looks locally. You have it running within your system. Now, when you will be doing it for the very first time, what you need to do is आपको करना क्या पड़ेगा? You need to authenticate it. So by authentication, basically आपको अपना Gemini का API key देना पड़ेगा, so it can make call to Gemini LLM. So for doing that, you can use this auth command. It will actually ask you for setting up, giving your Gemini API key for the very first time if you'll be doing the installation, or you'll use auth command for doing this setup. So जब पहली बार आप करते हो, you enter the Gemini API key. For me, it is already done, so it doesn't shows that, and it just simply prints that authenticated with Gemini API key already. So there's some important commands that I'll be telling you. So for example, there is a help command. On running this help command, you will find what all options are available. So these are all the options that are available, commands options. So one thing is that while you run any command, you need to use backslash and then you type in the command name. So this allows you to type in command. Once I have run this command, help command, you'll see what all options does it allows you. So you can see that there's some directory options. You can add directory, you can show directory, you have some MCP options, you have some memory options, like you can add memory, you can show memory. So it gives you everything in detail. Now, apart from this, I have a command called as models. So this is important. If I run this command, you will see that it has three modes. So it has auto mode, which actually uses Gemini 3. So what happens is while you ask it any question, if your model, if it is set to auto mode, it will automatically decide which LLM to call, Gemini 3.1 Pro or Gemini 3 Flash or Gemini Nano. Same happens here in the second auto mode. It automatically decides which Gemini 2.5 version model do we need to call. Otherwise, you can also set it manually. If I click manually, you will see that these are the options and I can select which model do I want to do the call with. And if I want to close this interface, I just simply press escape. So for now, I'll just let it be on auto. One thing we need to remember is that Gemini LLM calls are limited, like you can send limited number of requests per day. So while you're using in auto mode, it might happen that sometimes you hit the API rate limit and then it prompts you that there are no calls available. So maybe then you need to switch onto the manual mode. Then there are settings option. So settings, if I select settings, you can actually run this whole command line in Vim mode, or you can enable prompt completion. Like there are multiple options that you can select here to do these settings as per yourself. So as I told you, since it is an open source, it allows you a lot of flexibilities. You can do a lot of customizations on top of it. Now, apart from that, there is a theme option, which is quite nice. So you can select the theme. Like if I change it, you will see that the entire interface looks changes. I've set it on shades of purple. Again, you can select the theme of your choice. It has another important command, which is called as stats. So if I probably let us do one thing, we'll actually write a statement. Let's say I'm saying that explain machine learning to me in 3 bullet points, let's say. So once I have given this instruction, it will actually work on it, and it will take some time to execute it. So I'll just it is actually checking the nodes locally. So since we have some nodes present here, so it is checking these nodes that were in my local system, and then it will try to actually respond to my request. So it just asked me whether I should be able to access this folder or not. Since I gave the permission, it is actually accessing these notes, and then it will try to respond me with the question that I have asked. And there are a lot of files and folders already, so it is just searching, navigating through it. If it is not present in your local system, it will do a direct LLM call. If I would have denied it, it would also do a direct LLM call. Now, it just takes in some time for executing all these requests. Let's wait for it to complete. So it is able to access my system. It is able to find the files. It is able to list what files do I have. It is able to read through folders. It found out the summaries folder, which contains all these summaries of the chapters of the notes that I have. Then it is trying to frame the answer for the question that I've asked. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for it to complete. I'll tell you some other commands. So, for example, there's one command called as docs. Now, as soon as I execute this command, what will happen? It will directly open the entire Gemini CLI documentation in your browser when you hit enter. So it is a very important command. Let's say you're doing development on offline and then you're stuck. So you just simply type in here, you don't even need to search, and then it automatically opens the entire documentation in your browser. You also have one command called as stats. So stats command actually gives you the entire session detail. So I'll just wait for it to complete. Meanwhile, I'll navigate back to the slides. Once it is done, I'll share the screen again because it is taking some time. I hope so my slides are visible. So this is the authentication screen that you get. So basically it asks you whether to log in with Google or Gemini API key or your Vortex AI key if you're doing the development in production. Once you select one of these options and you give in your API key, you can, as I told you, you can run this model command. I've added the same snippets that I showed you in slides also. So model command list all the models, then I should demonstrated help command as well, settings command also, theme command also done. And then we'll actually start with some demos. So I've got some prompts, as you saw that there's some setup done in my local system. I'll show you like these are the prompts present and I'll show you how it takes in some actions. So yeah, it actually gave the answer. Let me share my screen and show it to you. I hope so my screen is visible. And actually, I'll tell you that I have this file CS229 course materials. So it's a PDF file. It's a 227 pages long PDF. So there are notes of machine learning by Andrew Ng. I hope so. You would have heard of him. So this was the course taken by him. I have this notes already. And then what it did when I asked this question, since it was in this memory of this system of this Gemini CLI, it searched through these nodes and then it was able to give these 3 bullet points. If I run the stats command, it will show me what is my session ID, the current session that I'm running, and it also shows me what is the number of input tokens, output tokens, number of requests generated, and to which model. Like initially, it used Gemini 3 Flash. Since it was set on auto, then it did one request to Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite. So it gives you this complete detail here. So you can every time you are running a session, you get this entire summary and you can see number of tool calls you are doing or number of requests that you are making to the LLM. So as I said that I have some files present here. So I have a suggestions.md file. Now, what this file contains is basically, let's say there was some tech conference organized last year, or let's say there was some session by UP AI Labs organized last year, and then they're planning to organize some session this year, but they also took in some notes, like there were some suggestions from the public, or there was some strategy that they had for all these sessions. So these are some notes that are present. So what I want LLM to actually do is that I have this prompt. I'll just paste it here. So I want to tell that last year organizers of this conference left some suggestions. Can you read them to me from this file, this particular MD file? And see, when I'm giving the file, I'm using this @ symbol. So to make sure that it is able to access that particular file, you use @ symbol and then the file name. So I give this instruction and I'll run it. Once I do so, it will actually try reading files. It is running this tool called read many files or read a file, and then it is trying to reach this model, and then it will read this file and try to give me the points here. Again, it will take some time for this to run. I'll show you how it looks like actually in the slides also. uh, Running this whole tool locally is a bit time consuming, and given that we have session just for 1 hour, I can't demonstrate everything live. So I'll just show you through slides on after running how did I get the output, and once it is completed I can show you the output of the real time also. So for example, when I ran this command, it actually executed this command, which we saw it is running right now also. And then it was able to give list down the entire file content for me within this command line interface. Now, once I got this access to what contents were present in file, what I can do is I can also ask it to search online that what are the best practices for organizing a tech conference. So what it does is we already had some suggestions. Now, based upon those suggestions, like I just asked the question that do a Google search and find out what are the best ways to organize a tech conference. And it did Google search and it just suggested uh, after doing the Google search, it just suggested me some improvements. Like it suggested that your conference suggestions are aligning very well with the online best practices. And then there are some potential areas where I can do improvements. So just listed this for me. Now, once I have actually run this, it will ask. I just ran another prompt. So this is the prompt that I ran. That add the new findings, whatever suggestions you have, extra suggestions. Please add these to our suggestions doc. Once I run this command, what will happen is it will actually ask me to run whether I can add these lines at some specific portions to my file. So here on the terminal screen, you will see that this is the original file wherein these content is missing. This is the new content that the LLM gave, and it will ask for my permission that can I add this content to the file or not. Once I click OK or I accept this suggestion, like you can see there is this allow once option or allow all the requests for this session, or no, I don't want to involve like accept these suggestions and I just want to keep it as it is. I can select any one option. Let's say if I select allow once, it will actually modify the actual file. So you, instead of typing everything yourself or doing things on your own, you are just actually giving instructions in English, and it is doing tasks as in when you're giving those instructions. You're acting like a manager, and you're getting your work done by an employee. So this is how this whole tool works. Now this clear command, actually I would demonstrate it to you. It has completed the execution. So let me share come back to my VS Code screen. So here it took some time, few seconds to run it, and then it was able to give me these concise suggestions. So you can see that it listed down all these suggestion points for me, and it is the same, like it searched for this file, it got the content and it listed down here as well. So I don't even need to open the file to read what all content was present there. Now, if I run the command clear, if I've done a lot of work and I just want to clear my terminal, I can just simply run the clear command and I'm back to the basic screen. So that is what you can use clear for. I'll move on to some next important points that I want to share again through PPT. All these commands are present in the GitHub repo, so you can run it locally. It will take some few seconds or minutes for commands to execute. And I, again, as I said, I can't demonstrate everything in just 1 hour. So stats command I already showed you. Once I'm done the calls, it gives me the complete session summary, and I can see what LLMs have I used, what are the number of requests I have made. Docs command, I told you, it just opens Gemini CLI documentation, and I would request that if you got some inspiration to learn about it, please do check their documentation online. It's really nicely written. You will find all there are a lot of things that this tool allows you to do. And then there is quit command. So quit command actually allows you to exit from the current session and you will be back to your terminal. So if I run quit command, it will exit the screen, and whenever it is exiting the screen, it gives you this session summary, the number of tool calls you have made, how many tool calls were successful, how many tool calls failed, everything. So it gives you the entire summary of your engagement for that session. So it is again very helpful. Now, there's one important thing while you're doing development with Gemini CLI, you need to make sure that you give some context. For example, when I ran this command to read the file suggestions.md, I gave a context that read this particular file. Let's say you visit a coffee shop, a cafe, and you have the habit of having extra sugar in your coffee. Let's say you consume 12 sugar pouches along with the coffee. Now, if you go to a big cafe, they usually give coffee without sugar. So maybe you need two recreational sachets. They don't, by default, add sugars to your coffee. So if you don't tell the shop owner that you need sugar to be added in your coffee, will that person do it or not? It won't do it probably, and then you will end up paying and not even satisfied with the coffee that you had. So it is very important in the similar manner, like I need to tell the coffee shop owner that please add sugar to my coffee, or maybe I need these 12 sugar sachets. I need to tell Gemini CLI also that you need to go through this and this file, or this is your role that you need to play. So this is called as context. Context, matlab information that you would be giving. Now, again, as I said, context is just an information that you give to an agent to understand what the user actually wants. अगर आपको Gemini CLI से कुछ काम करवाना है, you need to actually tell it instructions. So what can those instructions be? It can be some general instructions that you need to give, like I give just read a file. It can be a project specific instruction. Let's say you're working on some development project. You need to tell, okay, this is a Next.js project file, maybe go through this particular page of, maybe about page of the website, and then do some modifications. You probably need to define persona. By persona definition, maybe what I mean is, let's say you need to tell that act as a developer and do the modifications, act as a manager and then suggest me what can be done. Need to define best practices that the CLI should follow. Maybe you want to restrict it to not modify a certain file. So as you see, it asks for permission. So you need to explicitly decide whether you're granting the permission or not. You need to define the coding style also. So let's say that you're working on a development project, and आपको इस project में there's a habit of LLMs to add comments after every line of code they add. So you don't want it to add comments after every single line. So आपको उसको बताना पड़ता है that don't add comments after every single line of code. Just keep the code clean, or maybe use proper variable naming. So this is what I mean by context. Now, where do you define this context? So this context is defined in a file called as gemini.md. And where do you place this file? It is a very important file for your entire development process. So you need to place this file. Maybe you can place it globally, or maybe you can place it, let's say this is your project के अंदर आपके पास एक और folder है, and उसके अंदर भी आपने रखा हुआ है. Or you can have multiple Gemini MD files also. अगर आपका बहुत बड़ा project that has got file 1, file 2, file 3, there are multiple subdirectories, so you can decide हर एक project के folder के हिसाब से you're keeping those files. So this is another important thing. So here are the steps written. How can you create a file? It's very simple actually. So I can just show you a demo again for this. Let me share my screen. I do have Gemini CMD file present. So here you will see that for this particular notes learning folder, I have this Gemini MD file, which tells that you are a student learning who's trying to learn a new topic, and then you have these some instructions that you're giving to agent that if a PDF is large, probably use the read file tool. If you're writing a Python script, execute it like using this. Something like that is there. You have a Gemini Gemini MD file here. So here is a website that I have. So it's a tech conference website, the same use case that I showed the suggestions.md. You can just simply do npm runtime and you will be able to see the website. So this Gemini MD actually has this project details here. So I gave it, or let's say I can even prompt it to actually empty the current Gemini MD file, and based upon the website, um, create a project detail, or add in the project details, add in the project details to it. So I can give this instruction and then it will go through this file, empty the contents of the current file. Again, like I said, it exhausted my daily quota since it was set on the auto mode. I can give this request and then it will be able to actually run this whole command and modify the file. So this file is actually already modified because I knew this would happen. Since we are doing auto calls, I get limited number of requests that I can make per day. So maybe you need to switch to the manual mode. There's one important thing that I need to demonstrate, which is memory. So if I show you memory, there are certain commands like memory show, memory add. I'll just show you memory show command. The memory show command, what it has all the context from the Gemini MD file. So there is this Gemini MD file that I have added here and the file here. So इसके पास में ये file के अंदर जो भी content होता है, it has the access to all this content, and this is how it is able to navigate through the multiple directories. If I want to add in something to the memory, let's say I'm saying memory add. My name is Jyoti, and I am taking an online session. Once I run this, it just asks me, can I save it to a Gemini MD file? I'll just say allow once, and it will probably show me that memory is refreshed successfully. And I can actually do memory show, and I'll be able to see it. That my name is Jyoti and I'm taking an online session. So it added to the Gemini MD file. So this is how you can give in additional memory here. You can give it instructions, and then the next time you can add and ask it some questions as well. It will be able to access the memory and answer. Now again, I'll come back to the slide so that I'm able to cover the topics. I showed you the memory demonstration also. So this I covered. Memory show allows you to see what all options do we have in the memory. We have memory add option that allows you to add instructions or maybe give some additional information to the memory. And you can again do memory show and it will show you what is there in the memory. You can just ask it a question that what is my name, and it will be able to answer your name is Jyoti based upon the information it has in the memory. Now again, as I showed you this command empty gemini.md file and analyze the project files to create it. So I did it already, and then it was able to read those files. It was able to go through the website. It analyzed it, and then it added this to the Gemini MD file, which I showed you right now, the content it had. So it was able to actually figure out the entire website, entire project of yours, and add the details here to the MD file. Um, it, this is the entire file that was created after the command ran successfully. So this is how you can use it very powerfully. Now, you can use Gemini CLI for multiple purposes. So, one is, let's say, for learning. Like I showed you, there is this whole folder notes. You can use it for creating some study guides, for creating some practice tests, for some personal tutoring, for summarizing. Let's say you've got books, you've got research papers. You can ask it to summarize that for you, or maybe some web page. It can generate a summary for you. You can use it for proofreading whatever you have written, for brainstorming on some ideas, like a friend. You can talk to it like a friend, and then maybe uh, get some more ideas or suggestions or projects. You can search it. You can use it for searching, doing Google search, and then get results for your questions with the real time facts verification. Or you can also use it for job search, for your interview prep, for your improving your resumes. There are multiple applications on how you can use Gemini CLI for the purposes of learning. So I have given a use case. So there, let's say that your final exams are coming and you want to study for a particular topic, like I showed you those CS 229 wale notes, and they were 227 pages long. And you, let's say you cannot read all those notes right before the examination. So maybe you want chapter wise summary for each topic, or some study guide, or maybe some interactive exam practicing quiz application. You just go to this prompt, Gemini CLI application, and you just give it instruction. This is the prompt that you need to give it: summarize each chapter for my course book and save it as a Google Doc file. So if you have Google authentication done, it will be able to create files on your behalf. If not, then what it will do is it will create these MD files, raw MD files, and it will have these summaries present. You'll get this chapter wise summaries, and it takes some minutes to actually run this command. So I do have these files present in my local system. I can show it to you. So it takes some 5 or 7 minutes to navigate through. It will write a Python script to actually read through this whole long PDF. It is 227-page enormous PDF. So it will create a Python script, read the PDF line by line, and then it will create chapter-wise summary for you. So it is very powerful. You can try some prompts on your own. So maybe you can ask it to generate a study guide, and save it as a markdown file, or you can also ask it to generate an interactive test web application that can actually, ask questions to you, and then you can try answering them. So basically practicing for your test. So this is what you can do. Now, apart from this, apart from the purposes of learning, you can also use Gemini CLI for content creation. So you can use it for creating blogs, you can use it for creating presentations, for your social media posts, for your online tutorials. Like Gemini has got Nano Banana. So it can generate images for you, it can generate video scripts for you, it can read the video files and then give you transcripts of those. So all these things are possible. You can also use it for data analysis, like I already told you initially in the start of the session. Let's say you're having a lot of unstructured data or structured data, and you want some analysis to be done on top of it, or you want to perform some data cleaning. So it's usually a very heavy task. To be ML developers or data scientists only, they can actually understand that how much time it takes for us to perform the data cleaning, analyze through these files, and then get some information out of it. So you can use Gemini CLI for giving instructions in the normal English language and let it do the heavy lifting. You can ask it to analyze the source code for you. It can actually get access to your calendar data. It can schedule meetings on your behalf, and if you give the tools access, it can navigate through the web content. And you can also use it for software development. So all the developers out here, it's a very useful tool. Like you can do vibe coding, of course. You can you can ask it to write test cases for your application. You can ask it to do the code base cleaning for you. You can ask it to debug the issues that you're facing while you're running the application, and maybe read through the logs. So if you have got lots and lots of logs, or या फिर आप production में development कर रहे होते हो, it is a again very heavy task to read through all the logs and then find out where was the error or what did we miss upon. So it can save your time there. You can implement automation scripts, as I told. You can use it for writing documentation, or use it as a code reviewer, or use it as a security scan. So again, that like there are multiple options, multiple applications, enormous opportunities that this tool allows you to, and you can use it. Now, one very important part or advantage of this using this Gemini CLI is that it also supports MCP. So MCP क्या होता है? It's a model context protocol. Model context protocol is nothing but, let's say you have your AI agent that is able to do LLM calls, but जो भी आपका organization का data होता है, or let's say I showed you that the course files, so that is present in your local system. You were able to access it. Now let's say that you are working on some project and you have the information present in the database. Your agent should actually be able to do a call to this database. It should be able to connect to this database to actually do the development well, or maybe answer your queries. मतलब let's say you have got some data in the SQL database जिसमें आपके पास एक there are multiple tables. Let's say there are 10 tables that store the employee information, the salary information, the department information. All this is present. अब if you want to get some details कि मेरे organization में कितने employee का salary 50,000 से ज़्यादा है, आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? You need to access this database. How can you do that? So to access this, there is a protocol defined called as Model Context Protocol. So it is basically a standard that allows your agent to interact with external tools. Now, what these external tools can be, it can be anything. It can be a database like MongoDB. It can be any API, any external third-party API. It can be some application that is running in cloud. It can be your GitHub. So, for example, there is a PR, pull request, or there is a feature implementation request. So if you connect your Gemini CLI with MCP, आपको पता चल गया that what is that pull request. You can ask it to actually see what feature request is being done by the user who is using your application, या फिर जो भी while doing development, there are multiple developers working on it. So whatever is the issue, you ask it to actually, you without opening GitHub, you ask it to read it and then do those changes in your code base. So that is very powerful, because you going to GitHub, reading it, and then finding out where to implement. Instead, you're connecting via, you have this Gemini CLI, you have connected it through GitHub, through MCP. You do you ask it to access the issue, you ask it to modify the code, you just verify everything once, and then you ask it to actually push the code changes and then accept or put it on review. So this is how you can use it. You can again use it with any of your coding environments. So like VS Code, we were using it, and then this is I don't know if you guys know it or not. This is Seek, basically a security tool that does security scans on your code base. You can connect through it also via MCP. So there are multiple MCP servers. Uh, this Gemini CLI gives option to, you can explore the documentation to actually see how do we implement it. Like you can connect it with Notion, you can connect it with Slack, GitHub, as I told you, with Canva. So let's say आपका branding, you have a website and you have all the color branding guides in Canva. So you connect it with Canva and then you ask it to change the color on the website based upon the branding guide that you have. So this all can be done. Implementing this is a bit time consuming. So you need to go through the documentation, read those instructions in detail, and then probably you will be able to implement it. But again, like this is the link that you should be exploring for sure. So the slides that I've created actually use these as the references, so I decided to mention them. So of course, Gemini CLI official documentation, then deep learning.ai is what I've used, and the blogs by Google. So there are a lot of information already available online, apart from these slides and the project repo that I'll be giving access to you, that you can refer if you are interested to learn about this topic further. You guys can connect with me on LinkedIn by scanning this QR code. And this is it for this session. I would be taking questions now. Thank you so much for listening, for this opportunity for me to uh, introduce you all to this particular tool. Uh, I
Hi,
would,
Jyoti.
yeah.
So, yeah, okay, we have received some of the question on our live platform as well. Here, like Dev Pratap have asked, like, where can we have access the PPT? Okay, we will provide on the email that you have registered over through. Let's take some questions from the platform. Uh, Aman is asking about how we can use this as a replacement of Copilot. So,
Okay. Okay. You using it as a replacement of Copilot. So, as I told you that it not only what I demonstrated here, it has got a lot of more options like this MCP feature. You can implement, you can connect with tools via using this MCP protocol, and then it has got Google CLI extensions also. So these are extensions that allow you to do much more than what I've demonstrated in this 1 hour of session. So probably check out the documentation, go through this tool once, and then you will explore the infinite possibilities it has. Uh, and you'll be able to understand very clearly that how you can use it as in like maybe how is it more than GitHub Copilot. And to be honest, every tool that you have right now has got some positives, some negatives, so you should probably know about all of them and then decide what suits you the best.
okay, that's great. Quite explanatory. And another question that we have received, it's asking, is it better than Cloud CLI, or we can use it as a primary CLI command line integration?
Okay, again, I cannot like based upon my experience, like every individual will have different experiences. So maybe for someone some tool is better, for someone some other tool is better. So probably you should try exploring it on your own. And again, based upon the use case you have, you can decide which tool, which CLI tool works better for you. So that is what I would answer.
Great. So one more interesting question we received, uh, is a should we use this as a support for the developer, or it is harmful for the long term for as a developer?
Okay, to be honest, if I'm to answer this question, if you're working in some organization or you're working on some quick prototyping or you've got some idea and you don't have enough time to, or let's say like what happens is we have a lot of tasks to be done on daily basis and बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी होती हैं जो हम इन tools का use करके कम समय में कर सकते हैं. So that should be the intention while you are working. You should use them as a support tool to save time where it is required. If you're a student who is in the learning phase, I would discourage you using these tools for let's say doing the development process, because you should first learn it doing it on your own. बहुत सारी complicated चीजें ऐसी होती हैं that these tools would not help you with unless until you have that in-depth basic information. So depending upon the level you are, you decide how to use them wisely. So it is not harmful in long run, given that you know how to use these tools wisely for yourself.
That's 100% correct. You have to use the tools smartly. So, another question, Jyoti, we have received, like, do we get Gemini 3.1 Pro in Gemini CLI?
Yes, like initially to get Gemini 3.1 Pro is not there. I think Gemini 3 Pro is there. So 3.1 Pro, I think it is released recently, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, correct. So
Yes.
it's actually available. It's you can try it on web platforms, but for the CLI, I don't think so. It's available to use in your code base or develop the code. But so we had received this much question. Then what you use? We get in anti-gravity. Okay. So see, one more question that we received from Suraj. He's saying we are receiving 3.1 in anti-gravity. Why should use this tool?
Okay, I just checked that right now the model it shows that Gemini 3, the auto mode, has access to Gemini 3.1 Pro and Gemini 3 Flash. So these are the models that it makes request to. Secondly, this Gemini CLI is as I said, it's an agent running within your command line. So it is different from what you do at anti-gravity. So if you're a developer, you would probably know the power command line holds for us. So you
You
having
having
access to this in command line is way more different than you using those vibe code tools.
Cool. So I think we had got this much questions for today, and it's like we can wrap up the today's session. And I would like to sincerely appreciate Jyoti for delivering such an amazing presentation and live demonstration. And you have explained the concept so clearly. It's quite good. I think people will love to hear about you and connect with you even later on. Even we have presented this live stream. We had live stream to YouTube as well, so people can see you and learn from your session later on as well. So thank you so much, Jyoti, for your time, efforts, and for sharing such a valuable insight with us in AI Community Lucknow. We truly appreciate it. And I would like to thank you to everyone who has joined and made this session interactive and impactful as well. So see you all in the next AI study jam session. These session will be keep coming on every Saturday, and you will learn a new concept every time in AI study jam sessions. So connect रहिए, learn करते रहिए. I would love to see you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you so much.